what is truth? You would answer. What is truth? You would answer.
is no real name. What I have been doing for 40 years is practice the psychology of individual freedom. It's my job to corrupt young people with the contagious, infectious idea of individual freedom. It is my job to encourage you and to empower you to think for yourself, question authorities.
CIA and the military that brought LSD to America. Authorities. They wanted to drop LSD in the Russian Moscow water supply, reducing the Russians into loving Buddhas.
Question
authorities.
Question
authorities. One individual with electrons in his hand can bring down an empire. If you want to keep things moving, you should free the elements. Free the elements. Some people call that chaos.
Any reality is an opinion. You make up your own reality.
Wow.
Reality is an opinion.
You're equipped with 100 billion neuron brain that's wired and fired, and it's a reality generating device. But you've got to do it. You've got to do it.
I have probably used my brain, explored my brain, operated my brain, navigated my brain. From psychedelics to cybernetics, my brain has been inundated. My brain has been through a lot.
Wow. In this new electronic cyberspace technology, there's no limit to imagination. Everybody gets the drug they deserve, everyone gets the God they deserve, and everyone gets the electrons they deserve. Go for it all.
can be anyone this time around.
You make up your own reality.
You can be anything this time around. You can be anything this time around. You can do anything this time around. You can be anyone this time around. You're the first generation in human history to know how to control your own nervous system, change your own reality, blow your own mind, make up your own mind. You can be anything this time around. You can be God this time around. You've got to be God this time around. You can be anything this time around. You can be anyone this time around. You can be Krishna. You remember him. Body paint, barefoot, flute, standing down by the riverside, flirting with the cowmaids. Why not be Krishna, God of love this time around? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You can be Shiva this time around, sitting on your tiger skin, naked, waiting for your Shakti this time around. You can be Shiva, Om Shivaya, this time around.
The best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving,
Allen Ginsberg this time around.
Naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn, looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters, burning for the ancient, shuddering connection to the starry dynamo in the machinery of night.
Neti, neti, ved pukare.
You can be Maharishi this time around. You can be anyone this time around and sit in a cave in the Himalayas with a 10-foot erection, making love with the universe and laughing and smiling at High Priest and everybody else this time around. You can even be High Priest of LSD this time around, running around trying to turn on the world this time around. You can be Goddess of Love this time around. Baby, why settle for less than Goddess of Love this time around? And why take less than that from any man you meet this time around? To be cherished and loved, admired, worshipped as Goddess of Love this time around. You can be anyone this time around. You can sing it with a band this time around.
And I went flying.
You can be a Rolling Stone. Or a Grateful Dead. Or flying the Jefferson airplane this time around. You can make it a beauty trip this time around. Make music this time around. You can be anything this time around. earth or a mountain this time around. You can be water, thunder, wind, lake, fire this time around. Changing, cycling, be it all this time around. Libra and Taurus this time around. Pisces and Aries this time around. You can be anything, baby, this time around. You can be the Sun King, the Sun God, this time around. You can be the moon this time around, sending down silver radiance on the upturned faces of lovers and lunatics this time around. You can be anything this time around. You had 6,432,000 incarnations as lower forms of life before you got to be a human being. And then you got 200,000 incarnations of a human being before you grab that brass ring in the center and can say, as I'm telling you right now, I can be anything this time around. You can goof it this time around. You can get hung up on that power trip, chase money, competition, success. You've done that before. You're not going to do that again this time around. You can be anyone this time around. You can do anything this time around. You're God, baby, and it's your reality. It all comes from you this time around. Make it a good trip this time around. Make it a love trip this time around. I know you won't goof it this time around. Anyone this time around. You can be anyone this time around. You are now about to begin a great adventure. The journey out of your mind. You will travel far beyond familiar reality into the level of transcendent awareness. You will leave behind you your ego, your beloved personality, which will be returned to you at the end of this voyage. The goal of this trip is ecstasy.
undo the bonds which chain you to the external world, to dissolve the imprints. The goal of this trip is ecstasy.
saw you go around these pads.
Did you have a nice trip?
I'm on vacation. I found out today that you're running for governor. Tell me more about that. You're serious about it.
Hi.
Are you still speaking?
Live and let live. Yeah. Well, you know, California heard that terribly dangerous drug. It's called carbon monoxide or smog. Yeah. And DDT, that's a really dangerous drug. My wife, my family, my friends use God-given chemicals to make us happy and high when it's relevant and appropriate.
Are you on any drugs, though?
Right now?
Yes.
Well, I had a glass of wine on the plane. It's my religion and my family's religion that we try to have a mind-blowing God experience once a week.
Well, when do you have it generally? What's that?
It's all in the hands of the astrological forces.
What day this week did you have this mind-blowing experience?
Well, I'm having it right now. What we put in our bodies.
How do you feel about marijuana? No.
I think it's one of God's greatest gifts to mankind. Shall we go home?
Sure.
All right, let's go home.
We say political party, man, we mean party of celebration. The function of government should be to make people free and happy. The old party is just no fun. They're just uptight. The first sentence in the Declaration of Independence said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness means the right to get high. There was a time, a couple of years ago, when everybody knew that the Vietnam War was a scam, but there was no prominent politician who stand up and say so. It just takes one or two people to stand up and righteously, to say where it's at. The Black Panthers, for 20, 30 years in this country, we had this civil rights integration thing, the aim of which was to make the blacks become uptight middle-class whites. It just took a few of those young kids, and I want you to know they were all outlaw kids, black kids from California, from Oakland, which is my home turf. Bobby Seale and Eldridge Cleaver and those guys, they said, come on, man, we don't want to be grays. We don't want to become, Whitey's man. We want our own thing. Black is beautiful. Just took a few of them to say that, and then everyone wakes up and says, yeah, man, that's right. California, we're all dying of that terrible, dangerous, evil drug, carbon monoxide. The morals of this country have changed. The kids just don't buy that old uptight, keep your legs crossed, Puritan ethic. Aim of the game is to feel good. And the function of government is to get everyone high and feeling good. The problems that face California or Massachusetts, the United States, are not that insoluble. The guys in power are so old-fashioned and so rigid that they're just messing up in every way possible. The function of government should be to put itself out of business and get control and power back in the hands of the people, back to the neighborhood, back to the small group, and get the money and the control back where it belongs. Everyone in this country today knows what drugs do, knows what marijuana does. They know what LSD does. They know what booze does. They know what nicotine does. They know what smog does. There's no point in educating people about drugs anymore. Everyone knows where it's at. There are good drugs and bad drugs. That is, they're drugs that get you high and make you feel sexy and loving and happy. And everyone knows which drugs there are. Now, these are the drugs that the government's after. If a bunch of people smoke marijuana, they're not going to fight in Vietnam. If a bunch of people are high in marijuana, they're not going to hassle their black neighbor. They're feeling too good to be uptight and mean. The government does not want marijuana around because marijuana blows the whole white middle class scene. Do you know that there are 300 million people in the world that smoke marijuana? There are more people that smoke marijuana than there are members of the American middle class. Matter of fact, there are more people that smoke marijuana than there are Americans. There are 300 million people that use marijuana. Maybe that's a majority. There are more people that use marijuana than there are Protestants, and almost as many as there are Christians. There are about 100 times more people that use marijuana in the world than there are Jews and Unitarians all combined. We're a majority. We're the largest religious group in the world. All through the East, the holy men and the shamans, they use marijuana for meditative purposes. Most of the great holy books have come out of that Ganges River where those fellas sit around stoned on hashish and they get the old rhythm going and they pass it on to us. The old notion is that a drug that makes you feel good, like booze, and you stagger around and say, hey, I'm great, I'm the best one on the block. That's not what we mean by feeling good or getting high. Getting high is that sense of union and of revelation and of wonder and of merging with something that's bigger than yourself. And if you've never been there, well, when marijuana is legal, you're in for a glorious surprise. There's going to be one moment, it's going to come very soon, is when be that last person necessary to turn on, will turn on, and like a click, the whole, they'll all just start laughing. And there's going to be a convulsive ripple of laughter going around the country. Vietnam, wow, come on. The draft, come on. Compulsory education, come on. Reagan and Nixon and Humphrey, come on. Who are you kidding? Got to get the notion of sin away from law, that if someone likes to make love differently from you, you put him in jail. If somebody likes to read a different book than you put him in jail. If somebody'd rather get high smoking grass than have a bad trip with booze, you put him in jail. In the state of California, there are 2 million people that smoke marijuana. Now, if they all pay $1,000 annual fee, and most of them will be glad to pay $1,000, well, they can pay on time, you can play now and pay later. The average person would rather pay that tax, and then he wouldn't have to worry about being arrested and going to jail and $1,000 bail and $10,000 lawyer fee. It comes out better for the grass smoker. If the 2 million marijuana smokers in California buy the tax, we've raised $2 billion. If you want to do any of these asocial things, you have to pay a heavy tax, like this $1,000 tax to smoke marijuana, $1,000 tax to produce smog, it's $1,000 tax to drink hard liquor, it's $1,000 tax to own a gun, it's $1,000 tax to prostitution, abortion, bigamy, whatever people want to do, you can't stop it. I mean, if you really love your sin, you should be willing to pay for it. All right, well, let's get away with the preliminaries and let's start to wheel and deal here. What do you want?
since we're going to be sitting here and chatting for a little while, first I think what I'd like to know is who is this man, who is he as a person?
I'm a philosopher. I probably know as much or more about how the nervous system works, the far galactic outposts of awareness and the range of human experiences any scientist around.
You also happen to be a person in prison.
Well, yes, I'm in prison, and that may seem odd, a philosopher in prison, but I have to say this about my profession. Most of the men that I model myself after have been lucky if they got away with just being in prison for their ideas.
The LSD trip is a pilgrimage far out beyond your normal mind into that risky and revelatory territory which has been explored for thousands of years by mystics and visionary philosophers. In the last year, we are told that perhaps 1 million Americans, most of them young people, have made the LSD experience part of their lives. Is this a social menace and a cause for alarm? I don't think so. I say nothing less than the speedy evolution of a new indigenous religion. The LSD religionist knows that the temple of worship is the human body, but the shrine must be located not in a public place, but in the privacy of your own home. And that the congregation cannot extend beyond your family and your closest friends. In 15 years, the high school and college students who are experimenting with LSD will be running many of our institutions and guiding public policy. Remember, the college students who are using LSD and marijuana today do not comprise a criminal class. They are not drug addicts seeking to escape. They're your best educated, your most creative, and your most courageous young people. And like it or not, they're going to build you a new civilization.